back to Draw Steel, a pact made in amber. It's been a few weeks. We had the holidays. Welcome back, everyone. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. All that jazz. We're gonna get things kicked off with a recap because when I started prepping this, I could not remember exactly what happened last time, so I wrote a full-on fucking recap this time because I had to go remind myself what had happened. And I presume that will be useful to my players as well. So, kicking things off. Previously on A Pact Made in Amber, the crew of the unfortunate Scarpion made their way down the river Pantano on the island of Amostra. Their vessel, normally holding a small crew, is now bursting with the survivors of Grinnell after the attack from the Latsiski. During the journey, Higgins spent some time cooking for the refugees with the aid of Mariana Coronel, the matron of Grinnell. Cobb and Uvik spent some time fishing, in which Cobb had a brief underwater skirmish with some river eels that he won. And Uvik had a chat with the Vaslorian explorer Hunold, learning a little bit more about the Tlatsiski and the area as a whole. Meanwhile, Bansii confronted the devil Aurelia, sending a clear message that if the woman caused trouble, Bansii would show no hesitation in removing her as a threat. I believe the words "I'll kill you" were used. It was a very clear message. There was no room for discussion. At the same time, the trip was filled with an obvious tension from the presence of Captain Kouno and her captive, the Far Mariner Eduardo Capitan, with the primary tension being her seeming insistence on retribution toward the Tlatsiski. Nevertheless, the journey down the Pantano to the town of Parada was relatively uneventful. Upon arriving in town, the party offered transport to Blackbird, the Far Mariner who had been injured in Grinnell, as well as to Orilla, who showed a desire in leaving the island. While in Parada, the crew made their obligatory report to the Princeps Regash, a fierce orcish woman whose face was hidden by a bronze mask. The Princeps seemed impressed by the crew's actions and was interested in their opinion of the events that unfolded, especially in that those opinions differed from Captain Kouno's. Regash warned the party about Kouno and the captain's connections, but also in general about the state of affairs in Capital as a whole. Her recommendation aired on the party keeping their heads down and staying out of games. With their business done, the Princeps gave the crew the mission to report back to Poso, specifically to the consul there, with the aim of preventing open conflict against the Tlatsiski. She also recommended that Higgins have the amber glaive he had acquired from the Death Rex inspected on the down low, else it might be appropriated. So, that is where we left off, with the party making their way back to the unfortunate Scarpion. There's a bit of time in which, supplies are taken on board. The supplies, the seasonal supplies that had been headed to Grinnell, are taken off and commandeered by the forces in Parada. Blackbird arrives, Aurelia arrives, etc., etc. And there's a little bit of opportunity for us to have some wiggle room on retconning things and being like, oh, while we had time in Parada, my character did this. So we have that little bit of wiggle room down the road. But pretty shortly after your conversation with the Princeps Regash, It's time to leave, and you are on the easternmost isle of Amostra. Your destination is on the westernmost isle of Guaxinim, and basically the head of operations, the main city here in Little Ix for the Navy for House Verona, right? So as we transition into this is going to be roughly a 3-day journey across open ocean. We're going to do some downtime activities, but before we do that, we're going to transition over to... Oh, hold that thought. I gotta click multiple things. I still gotta learn this system, because in Roll20, I'm very used to just being like, boom, I've already prepped it. We're on the map now, but draw still, I gotta load in. Anyways,
I thought you froze.
We're gonna transition over here. I don't know what this unnamed token is. I gotta delete this thing. What are you? Get out of here. Delete character. Okay, so tell me if you all made it over.
A world map.
Hey, it's a work in progress, but this is our working map of Little Ix, of the archipelago, where this story is currently taking place. Right over here on the eastern side, this big island is the island of Amostra, and we have the little town of Parada. I'll add in more details as we go, and we have your boat, the Unfortunate Scorpion, which is gonna head westward to that big island in the west and the little fortified city over there on the north portion, which is Pouso. So, as we go, I'll add in more detail, I'll spiff things up, and we'll use this as our little map, and maybe we'll spruce some things up and add in a couple of little things that maybe the characters uniquely know, and we go from there. In the meantime, I believe, let me double check. Yes, it is time. You all gain 6 XP, and you lose all your victories.
Yeah.
We
out of victory.
And yes, you now in this process, I believe there is a respite button. But you all are able to take a full respite. I will double check and see if I can find it. I'm 99% sure that it exists, but only thus. If not, I can just manually.
Yeah, all it is just ticking up our...
Yeah, it's putting all your recoveries back to where it is, putting all your HP back to where it's supposed to be.
And also, we might need to go into our sheets and note
the
6 victories.
There it is. It's actually a button for me. And I get to say...
respite us.
Yeah, I'm just gonna respite all of you. Rest!
Oh, wow.
Finish respite. Boom!
Bam. Does that automatically put in our victories? It does not.
I don't know.
We don't have any victories.
I already adjusted all your victories over to XP, so everyone should be sitting at 6 XP with no victories at this current point.
Okay,
I got that.
Yeah, whenever you take a respite, all of your victories go away, and they all translate into experience.
Yep.
Expa.
I'm a victim.
Of what?
Vic.
Of Vic? Alright, so I have a important question as you all begin your journey out in more open waters. And this is primarily to our individuals that actually have armaments, or what are they called in Draw Steel? Kits, right?
Yep.
Are any of our kit people using heavy armor kits?
No.
I think
Not up.
specifically I have no armor.
Okay, good to know. As per Navy regulations, you're all good, except when the boat does get back out into open waters. Yoham does come by, and specifically with Cobb and Higgins, as per Navy regulations, gives you your little bracelets, which you are required to wear at all times while on the open sea.
What is this? I don't get seasick.
Yeah, what is this shit?
It is basically a reverse feather fall. It's basically an enchanted flotation device for if your asses fall into the water. Because you're so...
Oh.
If Bansii or Yuvik fall into the water, it's seawater. They can float. Cobb and Higgins are not floating if they fall into the water.
Was this got like AI in it? How's it know? What if I fall in the water on
No,
purpose?
it's got like a rip. It's basically like a ripcord. There's a little tab on the end of it, and you basically like rip it. And when if you drop into the water, you rip it, and it'll basically make you super buoyant for a little bit of time.
You don't know if it has life-saving magic attached to it. That's basically AI of the fantasy world.
Who knows? Anyways, there are these little charm bracelets available for anyone. So if Bansii or Yuvik wants them, you're more than welcome to have them. But Higgins and Cobb, per Navy regulations, are required to have them. And in fact, because
That's racist, just so they're aware.
In fact,
I'm a Navy
because
job or
of
something.
your weights, your pay is docked slightly in comparison to Yuvik and Bansii to pay
No,
for
I
these
leave-
charms.
I'm being weight shamed. This
You
is fucked
are.
up.
I'm not going to be part of this. In fact, not only do I leave, I'm now evil. I'm
You're
evil.
not.
right, yeah.
This is
Actually-
I'm not going to be part of this
This
racist
is
organization.
Cobb's-
Cobb and Higgins begin carving a hole in the bottom of the boat
Villain-
slowly over time. and
villain
start
origin
filling the
story
boat.
right here. That's how it goes.
No, I'm evil. I'm telling you right now, I'm evil.
All right, so it's gonna be a couple days. We are going to get started with some downtime activities now. I believe on your character sheets there is a new tab that they have added. That is downtime. That is there for you to track your downtime projects. I have not futzed around with this very much, so I do not know how intuitive it is, but I know you can make a project title. I know you can set the goal of the project, which I have the numbers for that scenario, and you can kind of like keep track of how have you been doing, etc., etc.
Thank you for saying that. It's like severe PTSD. I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Oh,
Don't make me.
Please go ahead and write a statement on how you're okay.
All
how it
your
lines upwards
KPIs.
to the
this
goal
is
goals.
not a
Make sure
requirement.
they're smart.
This is not a
Yeah, 'cause if it's
requirement.
not smart, you know, we're not
I
okay with it,
plan-
and if you can't
I
align to the
plan
goal
on
goals,
tracking
it's
all
also
this
gonna be
information
no-go
as
fest.
well. So if you do not want to be doing it, that is perfectly fine. However, keep in mind, I am not infallible, so if I fuck something up or forget to update your shit, give me a
Yeah,
Viva,
as long
right?
as you don't want like a promotion or like a merit raise, sure, you don't have to do your OKRs.
I was gonna
It's
say
fine,
they
it's
should-
fine to not have
instead of
goals
it-
as long as you don't want to be promoted.
That's
They
true.
should like change the name to side quest.
The side quests, that's...
Yeah, right. Like, because these are like things that you're doing independently, right?
I
That's
don't
like-
disagree with you. I do not disagree with you. Naming conventions, there are a lot of things named in Draw Steel that I would name differently.
Yeah, that's a little too worky for
It's
me.
that's a little too real for my superpower game. Okay, so getting into some stuff. Did anyone do homework? It's okay if you didn't do homework, that's fine. But did anyone do homework and knows what kind of stuff they want to be doing for their downtime?
I know the stuff
Uh-huh.
that I want to do, but I cannot do it.
Oh.
My stuff does not align with your stuff.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie. I
Like
didn't
one
know
of
I
the
had
thing is
homework.
like learn from a master. We don't have that.
Okay.
And
What?
also, I was considering the hone career skills, but
Sure.
I wanted to potentially like maybe be more specific about it than just like making my character better.
Yeah.
And instead like making the crew better.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Like
So
as
what
a-
I
as a-
would say is, for clarity on something like learn from a master, right, is the project. So most downtime things have like a project source or an item
Yep.
prerequisite, right? In the case of learn from a master, one would assume you would need a master to be there
Correct.
to teach you. However, alternatively, you can have records, books, scrolls, those types of things, right? It's the same thing as like learning fencing by reading the books and then putting all of the things that you're reading into effect yourself, right? Like that type of scenario.
Right.
That being said, if you remember the last time we played, I talked very briefly about wealth or your treasury, right? And how right now you're all basically at a wealth of 1, right? Which means you are all stable, you have jobs, you can afford to buy any basic necessities, you can afford to stay at common inns, eat common meals, blah 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 blah.
3/5.
Normal situations, right? But if you were wanting to purchase something like the expertise or the tome of some sort of master style scenario, that might be slightly outside of your means, which means we would decrement your wealth down to 0, and it would naturally accrue back up to 1 because of your position, but you just wouldn't have access to that wealth for a while, basically. It wouldn't keep you from doing anything that you normally do, but you wouldn't be able to, like in a couple days, be, okay, well, I want to go have a really fancy dinner at this place with this person. Nope, that's outside of your wealth range now. That type of scenario. So, if you do want to learn from a master, like I said, we have that flex room where it's like, oh, before y'all left Parada, you went off to the archives there or to some of the local stores and you perused and you found this thing and you used your wealth to buy it and now you're going to spend your time working on it, right? So that is an option. Anybody else have any questions in that kind of like line of like, how do I accomplish this thing? Is this thing within my realm of capability? Blah, 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 blah. Anything like that?
No.
Okay, sounds good.
Quickly looking at projects.
So does anyone else have a more specific idea now? And we can start making some rolls on stuff.
Yes.
Oh, what you got,
Yes,
Cobb?
I do. I would like to start working on my dive hours to become a Master Chief.
I don't know what that means.
It sounds like you didn't do your homework.
Sounds like someone did not. You know what? I actually have a whole little chart of what I think whittling would look like as a downtime project, because Lily mentioned whittling last time.
I love that idea. I forgot
Did Cobb
about it.
mention fucking becoming a dive master last time? I don't think
I'll be honest,
so.
I forgot about it until just now. So no, I didn't.
All right. Well, fine. Are you wanting to try to acquire a new type of ability, or are you wanting to try to hone what you believe to be an existing ability, or are you trying to like gain some sort
Yes,
of
I'd like
like?
to- I'd
Do you
like
want to
to,
treasure
the first-
seek or like catalog
the
life
first-
forms or what?
Yeah, the first tenet of the Master Chief diving is extra long breath holding. So I'd like to work on that.
Okay. So you're Okay. I feel like I'm getting a vibe here. Let me look through some of these things real quick and see how I feel like this might fall under like the learn a new skill category or like perfect a skill type category. Or it might fall into like the what's your career?
Navy diver.
Is that really what it is?
Yes. Wait, hold on. What's a career? Did I have to pick that?
Yeah, no, career is
You
an
pulled that
actual
shit
like
up.
thing. Like there's like
No,
an
where would I have picked that?
actual career button or tab or something like that, I
Oh,
believe.
shit, okay. Hold on, I thought that was facetious.
No. You took the explorer career, is what it
Yeah,
is.
I'm a Navy diver.
So we could kind of like fit into that concept that you're trying to hone a career skill, and go from there. Either way, whether it's learn a new skill or hone your career skills, you're looking at project goals that are like in the hundreds. So these next 3 days of you practicing are unlikely to get you there, but they will accrue, right? So we can work towards that kind of concept. So we have an idea in the bank for Cobb. What about Uvik, Bansii, and Higgins?
Perfect a new recipe.
I knew someone would be going there. I actually thought there would be more fishing going on the ship, but perfecting a new recipe. So that one is very clearly laid out. So we'll be able to kind of like look through that without much issue and just make you some rolls, and gear from there. Bansii and Uvik, ideas, thought processes. Lily, are you just interested in what I put together with the kind of like whittling concept?
I do like the whittling concept. The other thing is I'm a watch officer, and
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's specific only to like the capital or if like downtime I would be doing my job and working on like
So
you know what I mean, like keeping kids safe or going to hospitals, or you know what I mean, like there's a lot to my character background where I would be
absolutely.
interested in fires that are happening in the area.
I would say what is most likely, the way that I would translate that is I'd probably say, so your current job is Far Mariner, right? So your current job is whatever the fuck your naval commanders tell you to do at this particular point in time. And while on the ship, you don't have a lot of ability to affect the concept of like, even if you wanted to in your off time go about a city and help out and do things as like a watch individual would, right? So what I would say is probably downtime activities on the ship can be more personal towards you.
On the ship.
And then while if you do have downtime activities when you're in a place, yeah, you could, whether it's your job or not, you could be like, yeah, well, I'm not technically a part of the watch here, but that doesn't mean I can't go around and help people and do the things that I normally would do in a place and kind of like gain notoriety that way, right?
Yeah, I like the concept of on the ship it being like making toys, whittling, like that kind of thing.
Sounds good. And Uvik, did any of what I said previously kind of like help you lean towards or away from something?
I'm pretty settled on the two things I wanted.
Okay.
I'll just, for at least now, hone career skills. The point is to make it so that when this project is complete, you gain an edge on tests made using skills provided by your career.
Yes. Yeah.
But if I could instead make it so that the downtime training is instead like working on the crew as a whole, so that in the future,
so you're basically
we have to do
you're sacrificing your time, your downtime, to enhance the career skills of the crew is what you're trying to accomplish.
Right. Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. I think that's perfectly valid. I think that's a great idea. Okay, so I'm gonna make a few notes here real quick. Enhancing crew, making food, and making toys. All right, sweet. Let's do some clarity. Hold up. Let's do some clarity. All right, I feel like I have a very good idea for Higgins, Uvik, Bansii, Cobb. Clarity on your master diving scenario. So, what do you really want to get out of this?
I wish to achieve the rank of Master Chief.
Mechanically,
so you just want a title?
Well, and the skills that come along with said title, but yes.
Okay, and that skill that skill would do
sick-ass diving ability.
Sick-ass diving ability, like being able to hold your breath twice as long and being able to go
breath
further in
holding,
pressures.
underwater navigation, underwater dexterity, all the things you need to be successful in the salvage game.
Okay.
You can now do a single backflip underwater, uninhibited.
That's sick as fuck.
The rest of your allies aren't going to be able to do that, so that is an improvement on your behalf. Oh, fuck.
I'm going to queue up another downtime activity that just to have it there. The learn from a master thing. Just to have it queued up, and I'm just going to go ahead and specify that I would like to actually learn how my gun works. And within the learn from a master, there is a subsection called hone ability.
Yes.
Which makes it better. So
yeah,
that's gonna get slotted in just to keep it there. Eventually I'm gonna do that, but I'm making a note that it's there.
Like a secondary project for downtime, which is learning how Jay's gun works, so that I can maintain it for him.
Oh, okay.
As his butler.
Ooh, all right.
Oh, so you're my butler?
Interesting news.
I'm the ship's butler.
Interesting.
No. You said,
and as far as I know, you're the captain.
You said you were.
I thought this was a quackton
yes, sir. I'm Jay's
situation.
butler.
We did agree that you were the captain, though. I remember that. I was here for that.
I remember Uvik being the face, but this being a quackton.
We're a quapton. We're quapton them cheeks.
Quapton them cheeks.
Okay, so as note, you can actually have as many downtime projects as you want to have. So you're all
at the same time.
Yeah, you can have as many downtime projects as you want. You can just only make one roll on a downtime project per day. Is the situation?
Okay.
So you're only making progress on.
I want to learn how to make bombs.
Okay. All right.
I want to learn how to make proximity mines that I can drop and teleport away.
That might be a little bit of an issue. You probably will need a project source for that.
Jay's gun.
I would like to use Jay's gun as the starter for it. Learning how the black powder in his ammunition works.
I'm pretty sure that would require taking apart his gun so that he no longer has a gun. And I
just need the ammunition.
I don't think he wants to do that.
Well, if he's learning how it works, he should be able to put it back
Keep in mind ammunition concepts in this day and age. It's not a bullet, it's a ball. He puts a musket ball into a tube and shoots it.
Sick.
Okay, this is acceptable then. I go back to my initial project. I learned how Jay's gun works.
Okay. All right. Okay, we're gonna have to make some rolls. So let's start going around the room here. Cobb, I believe I have an understanding of what you are trying to accomplish here. So the way downtime projects work, generally speaking, is that you have a project goal. Whenever you have downtime, you make a roll. It's a normal power roll, but without any of the tiers nonsense. Whatever you roll gets added to the total, the accruing total towards that project goal, and once you have accrued that total, you gain the benefits of whatever you're trying to do. Along the way, depending on the type of downtime project that you're doing, you may run into various events or situations or activities or things like that, depending on the scenario. So for you specifically, Cobb, this feels kind of like a hone careers kind of scenario. And I think the way you're kind of wording things, we're going to go for the 240 version rather than the 360 version. But very specifically, you're not honing the skills you got from the specific explorer career. You're honing artificial skills that don't really exist in game, but we can finagle to exist in game to give you advantages in certain situations, basically, right? So
my project goal is 240. Is that
your
correct?
project goal is going to be 240.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is you're going to make a project. You're going to make a power roll, and let's check and see. You have climb, dive, endurance, navigate, swim. I think absolutely swim can get added to this roll.
Okay. I don't know how to do that. I'm on the downtime screen.
Okay, so
It says
outside.
project role characteristic. Which one is that?
So
depends.
characteristic. So the normal characteristic for career skills is intuition. I'm not sure that intuition really applies to this, but if you're okay with it being intuition, we can leave it as intuition.
Sure.
Intuition is one of your highest scores, so it still works for you. So if you're okay with it being intuition, we'll leave it as intuition.
I'll be honest, I didn't know that. So yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. So,
Alright, so then I
intuition.
click the adjustments button and I'm adding something to this?
You would add.
Or not?
What do you get for having a skill? You get +2.
I have no
right?
idea.
That was more.
I sure wish I
that was
did.
more like a open source question. That was polling the audience. question.
Fuck.
Wait, ask it again.
If you have a skill that basically gives you a, does that give you? Yeah, it gives you an edge if you have the skill trained, right? So you get a +2.
Okay, so I'm gonna say adjustment amount 2.
Yeah.
Reason.
Swim.
Swimming.
Yeah.
Save. Okay, don't know what that did. All right. So you said make a roll here, huh?
Yeah, you're gonna make a power roll. So you're just gonna go up to the left-hand
did I do
side
that?
and click the codex.
Project status is not active. How do I make it active?
I'm gonna click
Might
into
be a
your
Project
ship.
status. New project. Ask your director to review. Director, can you review, please?
Director.
I'm coming.
Director.
Where's it say?
Oh, I think
Project
the
status.
adjustment adds to the
Status.
progress.
Active.
I think that's correct. I click button. Did that do anything?
I don't know. Impersonate owner? Why do I have that as an option? I have to look into
I
that.
don't know how this works.
Airbud.
Whatever. I
Share
was
this
gonna figure out how
project
to
with
roll some
other
damn dice.
Yeah,
I
just roll
rolled
dice. You got a 9. Okay, so it's gonna be 9 + 2 + 2. So you're looking at a 13. So you have made 13 points progress towards your 240 goal.
Okay.
Okay.
I have no. How do I notate that?
Uh,
How does
I'm
that work?
I'm
It
uncertain.
there is a progress meter, but I think that we can't do that. That might be a director thing.
13. Rolling. Save. Okay. So I don't know. I need to delete the +2 for just swimming, Jeremy. I don't know how to do that.
Delete.
Oh,
Done.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you can do it.
Sweet.
I still this roll tab is not that doesn't make any damn sense to me, but okay.
We'll
Maybe
get
do you
there.
have to grant roles? Do you have to grant a role to it? Is that how this works?
I don't know.
'Cause it says available role 0, rolling starts paused, rolling status paused.
That's a good
I
question.
get the feeling this is something you have to do.
Where, like, I prompt you for it or something like that?
I don't know.
That would make
but I'm
sense.
seeing that within the little area.
Oh, there's a little die on it, and you can't click it unless.
Yeah.
Jeremy grants some roles, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will look more into that. We don't. Again, I'm tracking all of this in a notepad, so we don't have to go super ham into it. But if we figure it out and we get everything, hold up. How do I? Can I just add this? Can I just click this? Nope. Can I click this? Nope. All right. I don't know. You got 13 out of 240. On to the next
Whatever, I'll put it
person.
there.
You're done, son. You done's.
I did it.
Okay, who wants to roll next?
I'll roll.
Okay, you are. Are you perfecting a new recipe, or are you trying to make explosives?
First, I need to master my cake recipe.
Mastering a recipe. Okay, so mastering a recipe has a project goal of 100. You have a couple of types of recipes that you can work towards. I think we will probably also fill this out with additional things, right? Because I think we can both probably come up with, like, bonus effects that food could give you, right? And there's only 3 right now. So, for now, it's going to take you a while to get to that project goal of 100 anyways, but a couple of questions. Obviously you have cooking, so that's going to get added to this, so that'll be a +2. And then it is reason or intuition on making a new recipe. So that'll be a +1, so you'll have a +3. You can also get a +3 to the project roll if the recipe is from your culture.
The recipe is hazy.
However,
I'm making rock pie.
However, you do need a recipe source. You need a recipe in a language that you know, or someone to tutor you in that recipe. And I think we can be a little bit flexible on this. How have you acquired a new recipe that you are now trying to perfect?
Does it have to be a new one, or can it be one that I've been carrying with me?
Well,
And I just haven't had the time.
I would be willing to say as like a freebie, like a first freebie, like you have something that you've already picked up, and now you're working towards it, right? But there's also meeting people, right? Like you just rescued Mariona Coronel, who literally what she did was cook for a bunch of people in an outpost. So maybe while you and Mariona were cooking the other day coming down the river, she was talking about recipes and shit like that, and you were like, oh, that sounds like a good recipe that I want to work on, right? So there's a bunch of different ways that I think are feasible for you to acquire these things. It's just where do you want to begin? Is this something that you've had on you for a while and you just haven't really gotten up and running? Is this something new? What's the scenario?
For the first one, I think I want like a special dessert that my former master always loved, but he'd never let me cook it because it was his grandmother's recipe.
I love
and
this.
I found it after my master went missing.
Fantastic.
Starting off with betrayal.
I love this. Okay. So I will say this. I think that means you're not gonna get the +3 bonus from your culture, considering your
You
master,
don't know that.
your master and your master's grandmother is not of your culture.
That doesn't mean that the food wasn't.
Was it?
It was, yeah, it was Hakan rock pie.
Hakan Rock Pie is
You can't
your
explain his culture to him, Jeremy.
was your master's favorite from his grandmother.
Yeah, that's why he wanted a Hakan butler.
Okay. You realize
Tracks.
all of what you're saying right now, I'm printing as canon for your character. I want you to know that. One, you've made it that Hakan Rock Pie is a thing. Two, you've made it that your master has a grandmother who he had a favorite recipe from, and that favorite recipe happened to also be Hakan, and now this is the main reason why he wanted you as a butler.
My master was essentially like a Hakan weeb.
Hakan weeb. Oh my god. Okay.
That's
He
pretty
wanted
good.
a Hakan butler specifically for one type of pie.
Other clarifying questions here, and this is going further afield. How much of your backstory and your master do your crewmates know about?
I don't think any.
Okay.
We ain't asked.
Are you keeping
Yep.
it fully on the DL?
I mean, it doesn't have to be.
It's up to you. I'm asking you. That's entire. Are you?
That could be
So-
some fun RP later.
I'm not ruining the RP. I'm saying, has
I
he
didn't say you were
shared with
ruining RP.
anyone yet?
I don't believe that I have shared anything with anybody aside
Okay.
that I was a butler for a lord named Lord Brax.
All right, sounds like a plan. Okay, if that is the case, I'm gonna need you to make a power roll, and you are
Power.
going to get a +6 with all of the stacks here.
How do I roll power?
So if you go up to your top left scenario, there should be a. Yeah, up in the top left is where it is for me, but there should be a little dice
Isn't there
panel, and you just click on the dice that show power roll.
Isn't there a
Found
roll
some guys-
option in the actual downtime tab?
I don't know. Like, I saw a bunch of things that said roll, but it
Hello,
like that's the issue we were
roll.
having with Zach, was we couldn't
that's
find
a
anything that
garbage
actually
roll.
did a thing. So you got a 7, but you get a
I
plus.
would like to use a token.
No, nope,
No.
no tokens on
Denied.
this stuff. That is a 7, but you do have a +6, so that's 13 on your progress towards perfecting Hakan Rock Eye. 13 out of 100. All right, you.
Also, I'm not liable for the dentist appointments after you guys eat this.
Yeah.
Just so you're aware.
Yeah.
Oh god.
All right, Ubik, what are you dicking?
Got
Excuse
it.
me?
I don't know. Look, sometimes I
Alright,
just have to
so,
reach.
During the
I'm gonna Vic.
downtime,
He's
I
gonna
want
Vic.
to like get people together and like do just some random shit, like show them how to tie certain knots, which ones are better situationally for certain locations, how rigging works, just how to use a sextant, shit that's going to help us sail better.
You very quickly find out
Man,
that Robert needs none of your tutorship, right?
You
On
quickly find you are the least experienced sailor
on
on the
anything.
Probably.
No. Robert needs none of your tutorship on any of these
Robert.
sailing things, but is woefully inadequate in communicating anything outside of basic necessary information to anyone, right? Cella and Ambrosio are pretty woefully inadequate at all of the sailing things, and Yoham is actually pretty knowledgeable about all of the navigating things and just too lazy to do any of the other sailing things.
Also, I would like in this for some of us to become a little bit maybe not proficient but knowledgeable of how our engine actually works, because that's just like a magical ball of something.
Magical ball
I
or
got it.
something.
You put life in, it goes fast.
Okay, so in a general sense, we've already discussed this. We think that this is going to be a honing career skills kind of concept. I am going to augment this because your crewmates are basically retainers. What I am going to do is I'm going to alter the functionality in the way that this works for the hone career skills. And I'm going to say that each one of them has a personal goal of 50, making the whole crew a total goal of 200. So you're trying to hit 200 overall, right? In order to slightly boost the proficiency of each of the crew members here. So I'm going to say, as we go into this, I will allow you to replace. Normally, it's intuition.
Yep.
Your intuition is -1.
It is.
Since this is more of a you interacting with other people and teaching them things, I will allow you to replace it with presence, right? Because that's kind of like your leadership skill. And I will say from an interpersonal space, your lead skill also benefits from this. So you're going to get a +3 in total to your role currently. So go ahead and give me a power roll.
More wine.
More wine!
Okay.
More wine.
Thank you very much for the bits. More wine! Oh, not great rolls from the group tonight.
Look, we're just starting out.
We're just starting out. Just starting out. So that is an 8 in total. 8 out of your 200 goal. Okay, and then we flip over to Bansii. Bansii, aboard the vessel, you said making toys was something that you were interested in doing? Okay, so this is a fun thing, because this does not exist in the rules. So I went and put together a couple of like little ideas here. Partially based off of some of the pre-existing stuff, but also based off, well, I guess fishing is also pre-existing, based off of some other stuff, but also based off of the way fishing works. And the way fishing works is unlike most of the other projects. Fishing is kind of like a singular, momentary scenario. So it allows for multiple rolls, and in the multiple rolls, it has a chart where you can basically spend the points that you get. Now, yours is a progress bar because you are whittling over the course of time. So you aren't going to make multiple rolls, but the way that I'm working on this is thinking of the concept of like, you can basically whittle, and then spend the points that you have accrued without having a specific project goal in mind, right? Because there's no like, oh, 200 points means you've whittled this super awesome toy. No, you could whittle multiple toys in a single day. It just depends on the variety of what you're trying to accomplish, etc., etc. So instead, the goals that I have kind of just come up with, and these might flex around a little bit, is basically breakpoints of 50, 100, 150, 200, and 300, with the idea that you whittle a little bit throughout the days, you accrue enough points, and then you turn in the points that you have accrued for one of the benefits. And these benefits obviously get better the more points you turn in a single instance, but it's basically stuff like, the first one is like good standing in your local community, right? So that you have an edge on interactions with the majority of people in your local community that you gave those toys to. So that'll be dependent on where you are and who you gave them to, right? That type of thing. going up to, you know, a lot of people ignore kids, especially in like a bigger city or town or things like that. Street urchins are a thing. And if you get in good with them, you might have a crew of local informants that can tell you information about what's going on, right? Other stuff to where maybe you get mysterious gifts because you're so charitable, and further up into things like titles for basically being known for being such a charitable, caring individual that helps people out. That being said, most of those things are on the higher end, so it's going to take you a while to accrue. So right now, let's just work on some rolls. I think specifically for this, it's probably less about your skill at whittling, really, and more just about the concept of, you know, it's the thought that counts kind of scenario. So as long as you are just spending the time doing the thing, you don't have to be a master whittler. It's more the concept of what you're trying to accomplish. So I think presence probably is the thing that we'll go with as far as the whittling. So that gets you a +2. I don't know that you have any skills that go towards it, though. So you might be stuck with just the +2.
I think that's accurate.
Okay, sounds good. So make me a power roll, and we will give you a +2, and we'll see how far you can get in 3 days of whittling, basically. I'd say 3 days, but day 1, we're gonna roll each of these separately because it's fun that way. Also, other stuff might happen. So there should be a little dice panel somewhere that shows a couple of different dice options somewhere on your screen.
Lower left.
One of them is marked as power roll, and you just click and drag on that, I think.
I need to move it. It's hidden behind all of your beautiful faces.
Oh, gotcha. Oh!
That's a crit.
Is a breakthrough!
That's a breakthrough!
Breakthrough!
Yeah.
Breakthrough!
Okay, so
With a real
breakthroughs
good.
are really
Woohoo!
cool. Breakthroughs are super fun in downtime projects. Depending on the type of project, they can have different effects. In most of them, though, the main effect is that you get to roll again. So just roll again. All right. And an 11. So you're getting a +2 on these. So you're actually going to get a 21 and a 13. So that is going to be a 34 points in a single roll. Day 1 is kicking for Bansii.
Yeah.
Yes, this is old hat. This is what Bansii does when nothing else is going on, right? You know? It's great.
Yeah, I'm using up all my luck here so I can, like, not roll well when we're in battle.
Battle schmaddle. You're making the kids happy. Right?
Who needs a battle when you can give children toys?
Hella.
That's right.
Absolutely. Making toys. Okay. So, it is day 1. As your vessel maneuvers through the inner sea of Little Ix, make it a little ways through here. Traveling through Little Ix is dangerous, right? It's an archipelago. There are a lot of differing currents. There's the close proximity, right? The maelstrom, which is this massive whirlpool, literally like big island-size whirlpool in the Bale Sea north of this location, right? Permanent fixture is it makes the weather in this area kind of wild and unpredictable. It makes the currents very kind of like dangerous and unpredictable. However, perhaps the safest place to travel inside of Little Ix is in the inner sea, right? When you're going between the islands and going throughout all of the various little like passageways and things like that, things can get very sticky very quickly. The inner sea is not calm, but it is the calmest location in the area, and it is more protected than many of the other locations would be, due to the northernmost isle basically being a big buffer between it and the weather of the maelstrom, right? So, as you travel through this like little inner location, I say little inner, this is like several hundred miles, your brigantine it's not a super fast ship, but it's also not a slow ship. You're probably getting 8 to 10 miles an hour, right? So over the course of a day, you are traveling a pretty great distance, in all things considered. It's just, this is kind of like traveling portions of the Caribbean, basically, right? Like the locations look small on a map, but when they're all spread out, it's actually a pretty big amount of land and a pretty large distance in between things. Fortunately for you, we don't have to make any sort of checks or anything like that because you are in the inner sea rather than traversing through any of the passageways, so we are all safe there. And we're going to do a little thing real quick. Actually, I think that's going to happen automatically, but I'm going to roll this dice. Okay, that is a 3. Let me pop over here and look at who that is. I gotta re-roll. Okay, calm it down. Okay, we got a 4. It really wanted the person that was already taken. So, speaking of the person that is already taken, I think this is going to happen first because it's a thing that already specifically got voiced by someone. Yuvik, you find an opportunity to go speak to Chella, to Barachella, who is the main individual that actually operates the Hummer on board the unfortunate Scorpion. Now, you're all aware of the arcanotech that is on this vessel. You at least vaguely understand what it does. It makes the ship go a little faster. It's not especially useful out here on the open ocean. It's more specifically useful in adverse currents when you're going through the various, passageways and things like that in between islands, through the straits and narrows, and very specifically when you're trying to travel upriver against a current, right? So, that being said, you understand kind of like what it does, but I don't think any of you have any real idea on how it operates or anything like that. When it was installed, you were all given very explicit instructions on what to do and what not to do, right? Like, no electricity near it, no explosions near it, obviously, but explosions are kind of like a thing you don't want on a boat at all. But
let's keg sell for a good bit and see if they
like the simpler kind of like concepts behind it are that you're not supposed to let any non-naval personnel interact with it at all, preferably not see it or discuss it with any non-naval personnel. But 2, it comes with a set of crystals, basically large quartz-like gemstones that are power sources for it, and those are under no circumstances to be lost or stolen or anything like that, right? So you're all aware of that stuff. But Yuvik, you have a little bit of a desire to maybe have a better understanding of what's going on. And the only person on board this boat that is going to have more of an understanding than you do at this moment is probably going to be Chella. So, how would you like to proceed?
I'll, go below deck, and I'll see Chella there, and I'll be like, Mrs. Threadweave, I feel like we could use a little bit of cross-training on the ship. And, I say that more for myself than anyone. I feel like I have no idea what that is. And
she's looking at you. You approach her. She's looking at you with these like really overly big eyes. Her hair pulled back in this kind of tight ponytail. She always has this kind of like upbeat demeanor, but it is at times forced. She doesn't really want to be here, but she's making the best of it, right? Like that kind of situation. She doesn't shirk her duties. She's a pleasant person to be around, but she also didn't really sign up to get shot at or anything like that. So she's kind of like, right? But when you come to her and you start talking about this stuff, she's like, oh, I actually needed to go up top for this anyways. And she points over and you can see she's got this like metal tray that has several of these large quartz crystals kind of like inserted into these little stations along the tray. And she's like, I need to go up top to recharge anyways. And you've seen this a couple of times, but you've never really been like super involved in what is happening there.
Would you like some company?
Sure, let's go.
All right.
So you go up above deck with Chella, and she takes you kind of like towards the back. Boat terms. Someone, please glue boat terms into my brain so that they don't disappear. Up in the castle, back behind the fucking the steering. Blah, 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 blah. Yoham is up there. As soon as either of you show your faces, he's chatting away. He kind of just talks even when there's no one around, just as if he's, like, listening to his own voice. But Chella takes you back there to kind of like this little inset station that she has, where she sockets this tray into these two little clamps that are on the deck. That keeps it held in place, and you can see each of the crystals is like clamped into the tray, etc., etc. And it's basically just radiating sunlight down. And you've seen this kind of like happen whenever y'all are out in the open ocean. But these, for your purposes, that doesn't really mean a whole lot. For our purposes, these things are basically like little solar power storage units, right? So whenever y'all are out on the open ocean, Chella brings them up here and we'll sit with them for a while, watching them, making sure that nothing happens
So
while they store up energy.
Can gain use from UV.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, right? You do know the secondary scenario is that the machine can kind of like drain vitality from someone as a backup energy source. So it's pretty consistently attended, especially when it's in use, so that the crystals don't drain as quickly, right? But yeah, Chella takes you up there, and what would you like to know?
So this thing, being on a boat before, I'm used to, wind and maybe steam. But I am not used to magical sources of propulsion. I am rather interested in
say maybe steam. I think that's a super interesting concept, because I think the vast majority of the world, you might say steam, and no one would know what the fuck you are talking about. But I do think
Maybe
it's
not.
I think it's interesting though, because I like the idea that maybe the ports in Kamara or in Higara actually are starting to use steam power, and since you were originally from those areas, specifically Higara, but also pirating in the Kimharan and southern Vaslorian area, that you maybe have seen people that things that people in this portion of the world have no fucking clue about, right? So, like, the idea that there are, like, little steam engines or things like that over in Higara means nothing to anybody over here, right?
Okay.
But that's cool. I like that. That's cool. Which I think actually might give you a little bit of a leg up on understanding this stuff compared to any of your crewmates.
Okay. All right.
You say this stuff to Chella, and she looks at you, smiles, and she says, I have no idea. They gave me a manual, and she pulls it out, and it's like 6 pages. It's like this big, and it's like 6 pages of extremely basic information.
She's running this.
It is wild, right? And she'll hand it over to you because it's not like only she is allowed to see it or anything like that. It's just she was the one that was kind of put in charge of it.
6 pages. Y'all thumb through that real quick,
right?
Like,
a couple of things that stand out to you that you did not know. I say that there are a few kind of like maintenance things that catch your eye. Some terminology that's not especially familiar to you, but that you can work out. Basically along the lines of that there are pipes running through the hull of your ship. Basically.
Oh, really?
That are funneling water into the front of the ship through these pipes, and that the Hummer, the engine, is basically spinning turbines inside the hull of your ship in these pipes that is forcing the water out faster through the back portion of the pipes, right? Is basically the functionality. The manual isn't going to go into super detail about that, but it does mention the pipes. It does mention maintenance on the pipes and the issue of there's grading in the front to prevent things from getting in, especially like living things or rocky things, right? And it warns of how to like do maintenance and things like that. All of that is kind of like cautioned with the phrasing of like, you're supposed to take your vessel to a naval yard every like few weeks. You're not supposed to do this maintenance on your own. You're not supposed to touch this shit. Don't touch this shit, right? And it all gives you this air, very much this air of like, why the fuck do we have this? Why the fuck does no one have any real training on this? It's basically the idea of them. It's similar to the concept of like them putting a cannon on a ship and then hiring a person off the docks and saying, hey, when we tell you to hold this burning piece of like wood to this fucking thing and it's gonna make things go boom. And having a very basic understanding of what that means, and then having no idea about any of the rest of the shit on something that could cause a very big problem, right? So that's one of the big things that stands out to you. The second big thing that I think stands out to you that you did not know is that there is a, well, I guess did not know is kind of like a in air quotes, did not know. You were told, again, not to let anyone see it, not to let anyone interact with it that's not non-Navy, right? And you were told, obviously, right, like not to lose the quartz or anything like that. The machine, the Hummer itself, in that small room is pretty big. It takes up the majority of the room. But there is a main central, like, portion of what the engine, quote unquote, actually is. That cannot be removed more than 10 meters from your vessel without exploding. The quartz crystals cannot be removed from your vessel more than 10 meters or so without detonating and releasing all of the energy that they have stored.
That is fantastic.
And that was not something that they were just like, oh yeah, by the way. No, they just told you, no one touches it, don't move anything, don't lose anything. So again, it's kind of like you're walking around with a magic bomb that no one told you, don't take this off the ship. It might be a problem.
Right, cool.
So we have a magic
so
bomb.
It is literally using like the technology of a jet ski, but using magic, ultraviolet light, or life force as the propulsion.
Basically.
Cool. And it explodes if it is separated.
You get to that part and Chella's like, yeah, we're not supposed to like move it or that's why there's these clamps, because if one were to like, if one of the crystals were to like get tossed out of the tray and roll off the side of the ship and we're moving, then, you know, pretty shortly it's gonna boom, and I don't know how big the boom is, so I don't know if that would actually damage the ship or anything like that, so...
Cool. Well, this has been incredibly educational. I am very, very learned and very, maybe a little concerned.
Oh, yeah.
But it's good to know.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so Blackbird's Mariner, we don't have to worry about Arila, right?
Reload?
Or Arila? The devil?
Oh, Arila.
That you let
Arila,
on the boat?
Our... She seems fine.
She seems fine.
Yeah, she seems fine. I talked to her for a little bit.
She gives you a look with those big eyes and just kind of like sidelongs. She seems fine, or she seems fine?
Ooh,
she is a normal person.
She kind of squints at you,
which ill will towards us.
She kind of squints at you with her big eyes. The squint is more like normal eyes kind of scenario.
Yeah. As far as I can tell, she is a normal civilian that does not have ill will towards us.
Right. Well, I'm gonna keeping the door locked when I'm not in there.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine.
Nah, keep it unlocked. Nothing bad'll happen.
I mean, that's just. I mean, that's probably like the fact that I didn't know that this thing could explode like that. Probably should be locked, even if it's just us anyway.
Well, you know, yeah.
Higgins walks in with a sandwich.
I mean, just walks. I like the idea of Higgins just walking into any room with food. Like, heedless of what is going on in the room, irrelevant, just like, hey, I have food.
Who wants food?
It's me.
Okay, so anything? Is there anything else? Right, like Chella's she's not chatty like Yoham is. Like Yoham just talks to talk, and he'll say just about anything and everything. But Chella is chatty and likes to chit chat with people. So, is there anything else that you're interested in discussing with her, or have you kind of like hit the crux?
No, I hit the crux, but like I'll just ask her just because I know what it's like being on the open seas, stuck with people for a set amount of time, and you don't really have a choice. You have to be with them. I'll ask her for a vibe check. How you doing? You got everything you need. Is there anything that can make the ride better?
This has been fine. I mean, really, I have not made a big secret out of any of this. I'm not super excited to be here. I didn't think I was going to be shipped off. And and this isn't exactly, she kind of like gestures to the stuff, this isn't exactly what I thought I was going to be doing, but all things considered, my time aboard the Scorpion has been pleasant. I'm not super sure about what went down in Grinnell. That was not especially exciting.
I mean, I can give you a play-by-play, like fade out, fade in.
No. I got the play-by-play. I feel like I understand what happened. Are you? My cat's trying to throw up underneath me. What is wrong with you? What are you doing? Stop it.
Trying to throw up. What do you mean?
Quit.
Yes, the age-old I'm gonna throw up. Well, quit it. Okay.
Well, don't.
I said quit while I moved him with my foot. You can throw up. That happens. Does it have to be directly underneath me? No. Anyways, Chella from a vibe check from Chella is basically like, she is a non-combatant, right? Like, she is not a... Oh, did everything just freeze? No. Okay, no.
You're good.
You know, you three were just, like, held in position for a second. I was like, oh, damn.
With my
we've been practicing that.
You've been practicing? Thank you. So, vibe check from Chella is basically like, she's a non-combatant. She didn't really ask to be here, but all things considered, she likes the crew. Crew's fine. She will let you know, right, that there was, when you all went into Grinnell, there was a brief moment where Robert had to hold back Ambrosia. And that was not something that got discussed upon your return.
No, Ambrosio did not mention that when I spoke with him.
Chella will confide in you that he tried to follow you all into Grinnell.
I appreciate you letting me know.
Who's Ambrosia? Is he the little rodent guy?
Yeah, he's the Raiden White Rat Man.
Man, he should have come with. He could have got some sweet experience. He can be leveling his ass up.
Get
him on the front lines.
Get him on the front lines. Speaking of which, that 4 that I rolled. Let me roll a 3. That is a 1. Higgins.
Oh boy.
What are you?
Oh, boy.
You're in. Presumably, you are mostly in the kitchen cooking various meals throughout the day. Cooking meals for the crew. Working on your recipe in your downtime, etc., etc. You are visited a little after the midday meal by Ambrosia, who has seen the amber glaive that you are now wielding, and is trying to contain...
Oh yeah, I was supposed to get that identified before we left.
Trying to contain his excitement. The implication you got from Ragash was that was something that you probably needed to do in Poso. Parada's kind of too small of a place to really effectively get something like that checked out.
Got it.
But yeah, Ambrosio, or Brogio, as he typically calls himself or refers to himself. Hey bro, comes to you, and he doesn't really he is a very respectful young man, so he tries to not make himself a nuisance. He doesn't get in any of y'all's way, but he is almost always, when he is interacting with any of you, it's barely contained excitement, right? It's almost on the border of hero worship, right? Like, he looks at all of you as if you are what he wants to be, type scenario. So you see him standing in the doorway of the kitchen, Higgins, and he is basically just fawning over this big-ass amber glaive that you have, presuming that you have it on your person. If you don't have it on your person, then that is not what he's doing.
I mean, it's probably not, on me as I cook, It's
Yeah.
probably like leaning in a corner of the kitchen.
Well, last time you said you were using it to cut vegetables, so you know I was uncertain.
Well, I'm not cutting vegetables right now, am I, Jeremy?
That's fair. That's
True.
a fair point. Fair point. Okay. So yeah, he's staying out of your way, but he's clearly making eyes at it. And it's, I mean, it's not covetous eyes. It's like, wow, right? Like he looks just like, oh, starry-eyed of like this cool weapon that you defeated this powerful tyrant lizard for.
Greetings, Master Bro. Would you like to touch it?
Oh.
Man, you're making eyes and you're
I'm gonna gloss over that one.
There's
I'm gonna
so many things wrong.
I'm gonna gloss over that one and just say that he is too innocent to be concerned with that kind of phrasing.
I was
and
talking about the glaive,
and
Jeremy.
he is
Keep your head out of
absolutely,
the
of
gutter.
course, that is what he believes, and he is just gonna be like, can I?
Certainly.
He'll go over and you know, under your discretion, he'll
It's super cursed,
pick
right?
it up.
Like, definitely going to possess him the moment he touches it.
So
Alright, cool.
you've held it. You have specified in the past that you've used like a cloth to you know, be careful with it, etc., etc. But you in the interaction with Ragash, she took off her gloves, she touched it with her bare skin, and I'm assuming that in the time period that you have spent with it, the 2 days that you spent with it, you probably touched it here or there. There hasn't been any moment where you're just like, oh, I touch it and into my mind or anything like that.
Your
It
eyes
doesn't.
alight.
It doesn't scream.
But I'm not like a bestial race, like
That's
the lizards
true.
or
That's absolutely
Ambrosia.
true. So is that a concern for you? Or
I want to know.
Are you watching? You're just gonna let him do it and watch and see what happens?
I watch him very closely.
He goes to pick it up, and unlike you and Ragash, he has a little bit of difficulty. It is significantly lighter than your average glaive would be. But he is
Show him
still
a trick because I've
he
made
is
some
still an
adjustments.
extremely like small creature, and yeah, he has a little bit. It's unwieldy to him. About 5 seconds or so, like he's like, he picks it up and it's clear like it's a little heavy and too big for him, right? Like it's very large compared to him. But after about 5 seconds of him holding it, it suddenly shrinks down to a more appropriate size for him.
Hell yeah.
Whoa.
And
Well,
he's
that's
just
interesting. I did not
wowed and
know he did that.
amazed as that happened. He's basically the equivalent of Japanese anime. Whoa! Right? Like
Well, do you want to practice with it? We could head up to the deck and go through some forms.
you say the words practice with it, his excitement overcomes him. He swings and cuts several things that are hanging nearby accidentally. They
I'd
clatter
like to
and
roll
shatter.
to catch all of them. I want to roll to catch all of them.
Roll me power roll. Let's
Yeah.
see how it goes.
Power roll! I catch a couple.
You catch a couple of things. A few things hit the ground. A couple of items get shattered, and he looks extremely bashful immediately. Profusely apologizing, like kind of like very stumbling over himself. Who is the fuck? What is it? Oh, I can't remember what that is. There's some prescient kind of like characterization that was in my head, but I can't remember what it is. But he is.
For a moment, I look at him very sternly.
He looks extremely ashamed and abashed.
And then I say, jump and give me 5. And I hold out my hand.
5 of what, sir?
High five!
The highest of fives.
But I hold it a little too high for him, so he has to really jump for
He
it.
looks at your hand and he looks at his hand and he goes like this, like he makes the motion so he understands. He sets the glaive back in the corner, and you see he kind of like moves over closer to you, so he has a fighting chance, and he jumps. He almost jumps as high as your head, relatively effortlessly, and just pops your hand.
That was awesome.
He's a
Mistakes happen.
He's a very good jumper.
Okay, that's good information to know. We wouldn't have known that until this moment. High fives learned things.
You haven't seen him jumping around, but you've seen him in action. You've seen other Raiden Whites in action. They're extremely nimble creatures that apparently are also quite good jumpers.
Good jumpers. All right. Well, nothing to worry about. Accidents happen. This is a kitchen on a boat. Things fall out all the time.
Half of your shit in this kitchen is tied down or in like these open cages and like clamps and things like that, because the boat lists constantly, and if anything is left
Always
out,
a potato.
Yeah,
just
right. Just
trading
rolling.
sides.
Yeah,
back
there's
and
one
forth.
potato that I refuse to
Used
pick
to
up.
pick up. It's bruised to shitting back. It's like sprouting
It is
from one
definitely
end.
moldy at this point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It leaves a
Would be
smear
if it's building
on the
up.
ground everywhere it goes.
I mean, you use.
But I
it's
know
a-
that if that potato ever disappears, we've got rats.
You've got rats. You also like you know what's kind of like happening
Mean.
above deck by where the potato is rolling, right? Because you can feel kind of like
That's
the
true.
motion of the vessel, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's an orientation potato.
Ambrosio is admonished by his actions, but relieved at how forgiving you are, and you can see in his kind of like set he wants to be a hero. He wants to be a fighter. You've seen him. He wears a rapier, right? You've seen him training with it above deck. He absolutely wants to be what you all are, and you've also seen in his youth and skill is a bravado and impetuousness that is likely to get him killed the first time he sees real fierce combat.
How much HP does he have?
Not a lot.
Well, then it's liking that doesn't put him on the front lines. Like me. He could be a shadow. I train him in the art of teleportation.
Training him in the art of
I'll say,
teleportation.
you're not on the front line.
Fantastic.
You're ahead of the front line.
Yeah, you're not on the front lines. You're buried behind the trenches. Like,
The enemy line.
Yes. Yeah, in hindsight, he probably should not be like
probably
me.
is the thing. Is potentially a thing. Okay. Anyways, that is it for day one, kind of like activities. Some of the stuff that kind of happens. Anyone want to change things up, or are you cool to keep working on the projects that you're already working on? If so, we can just make some rolls and expedite the
Finish
process.
this goddamn pie. Let's go.
Okay.
I continue.
So anyone who knows what they're rolling for can just go ahead and roll, right? Like
Pie.
no reason to like do this separately. You can just look at the stuff and go from there.
Roll for pie.
Cock.
Roll for pie. Okay.
Well, camaraderie.
Cobb, do you remember what your bonus was?
4.
You're getting a +4. Yeah. So you get +11, so you're up to 24. Higgins, you were only getting Higgins, you're getting a +6, right? because
He was like plus 18.
no,
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I think that sounds right.
No, plus 6.
I had an elaborate backstory for why I was cooking this.
I'm aware,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
that's
You
Plus
got
that's
it.
18.
that's why you're getting the plus 3 bonus that you otherwise would not be getting. That's 6 points that you've accrued that you otherwise would not have gotten.
That's true. That's true. We
So,
take those.
you're up to 31 now. And then Yurik, you have a plus 3, right? So that is
Sure,
15
yes.
points for
For
you.
lead, yes.
Sir, we're sitting at 23 on that. Bansii, Lily, I'm assuming, it has stepped away in this moment.
Yep. She's putting them cheering down.
So no worries. Oh, no, she's back. Bansii, Lily!
Bansii!
Make me a
Just
power
reminding-
roll. We're doing more whittling. We're
Okay.
making more toys.
I'm back. You need me to make. What do I
Yeah,
do?
Make you
Another
a
power roll?
power roll. All right, not as good as the last time. That's okay.
No.
It comes and it goes. So that is another 10. You're still winning the downtime race though. You're at 44 currently. Alright. Some other stuff that happens. We're day 2. Travel a little bit further. Basically making it across the inner sea. And you're on your last leg of the journey to Pozo. Some other stuff that happens on day 2. Bansii. A friendly
I'm so disappointed.
a friendly devil comes calling.
Oh yeah, sure.
What are you doing around mid-morning on the second day? Where are you at aboard the Scorpion?
I would assume, mid-morning. That means I've done all of the chores for the day, everything that I felt like I needed to do. I would probably be up on deck, enjoying the sunshine and maybe whittling away.
Okay. While that is happening, your friendly neighborhood devil that you are giving passage to comes calling. You see Aurelia striding across the deck towards you. She has picked up some garment. Either she brought it with her or she tailored something that she borrowed from maybe Chella or something like that. But she is in kind of this. The last time you'd seen her, she'd been in kind of like this tunic, this kind of like more leather, adventure-y, explory kind of like scenario, with a few little like bits and bobs here or there. It feels like she's gone full casual mode at this point, right? Like she's basically wearing what would amount to the equivalent of like a medieval sundress at this point. This kind of like red and greenish, like dark greenish kind of like affair. Very kind of like loose fitting, very comfortable looking. Her hair is down. She's very casual as she walks. She's barefoot. I say barefoot, bare hooved. She does have hooves. As she kind of like approaches, and she's just very smiles and kind of like stops a few feet away from you and just kind of gestures and asks, "So what's going on with all of that?" Kind of pointing towards the whittling that you're doing.
I'm making toys.
Toys, profit or charity?
Charity.
Interesting. There's a couple of kitchens in Pozo. They did good work. I could give you the names of a couple of people if you're interested.
Kitchens?
kitchens. Basically
Oh,
like the equivalent of like soup kitchens, like for the needy or the individuals that have fallen on hard times. Pouso, unlike Parada's a town of like a couple hundred, maybe 1,000, right? Pouso's it's only 2 years old, but it's got like 20,000 people. It is the main port in all of Little Ix. So most of the travel that comes into it comes into the archipelago, goes through Pouso. And that has led to, as you might expect, that has led to a lot of people coming here to make their fortune and then failing to be able to do so, right? So there's a lot of people in the city that have fallen on hard times, and there's a lot of like charitable organizations that have built up around that. And in your case, right, there are a few orphanages slash hospitals, those types of things that are more your kind of like stream of what you do.
So I would be grateful for those. Like, do you have a connection to the kitchens?
I have a couple, yes. There have been a few. I've made a few friends while I was staying in Pouso briefly. And then there are a couple of people I know from back home, capital, who have made the journey, and some of them are in Pouso, and then others are kind of like made their way looking for their fortunes around the Isles and so on and so forth. So I have a few connections, yeah, I would say.
I meant, do you have a personal reason for being connected to those kitchens?
You see her, my sous chef.
You see her usual amicable nature, because she is in the few brief instances that you've had communications with her, or that you've seen her speaking with others, she's been very open, very matter of fact. You see her falter for a brief moment before she nods and she says, intimate knowledge. The quarter I grew up in Capital was not the most prosperous. And I think Bansii as an actual, like, one of the two actual residents of Capital in the party, you have a better pulse for the city, the great city, than several of the others do. Yeah, devils in Capital are kind of like the undead. They are not especially looked well upon. They live in what are called enclaves. And those places are some of the poorest, most oppressed locations in Capital.
Okay. So I think Bansii would just kind of fix her with a knowing look and nod.
And it might be, I don't know, because I'm not 100% positive, because we discussed your backstory. I'm not 100% positive that I know, though, how long Bansii has been in her current form. How long Bansii has been undead.
I haven't figured that out either.
Sure,
because
that's fine.
It depends on, like, how... So, like, our character... Like, I guess this is, like, a pause. But, like, our characters are known, right? Like, we're heroes at this point.
Well, you are burgeoning heroes. This is, like, the begin... You are skilled... Like, you versus a commoner, not a contest. But your renown versus a commoner is pretty, like, equal, right? Like, you're not more famous than, like, a local blacksmith would be, but your trajectory is very different from a local blacksmith's trajectory at this point in time, right? That's okay. Kind of what it means to be a hero in Draw Steel and in MCDM is it's more, what is your path forward? What is your trajectory? That is what sets you apart as a hero compared to your average day person, aside from your, obvious ability to kill things, right?
Yeah,
and
does
not be
like
killed by
race
things.
I mean, I assume that this would be the case, but race and lifespan matter, right? Like humans would not live as
Sure.
long as elves, who will not live as long as
Absolutely.
undead, right? So
100%. And the other kind of like transitioning factor in all of this is that undead as like entities have existed in capital for quite some time, but on rare case by case basis, right? Until recently, when basically the entirety of what is it, the I believe it's the Assayers Guild of House Valletta and their holdings, due to the Lady of the Night, were turned into undead. And all of a sudden, one of the 7 factions that rule capital is basically now an undead faction. But I don't know that you're a part of that faction. Your situation was a different cause. Like how and why you became undead was not a part of that. So you might have been undead longer than this recent change, or that might have happened even more recently. You might have only been undead for 6 months to a year or something like that. It all just depends on how you prefer to approach things.
yeah, I think I'd prefer it to be like a long time.
A long time. So you've been at this for a while now, right?
Yeah,
So,
and she might have some awareness
so
that you know what I mean?
it's entirely possible, right, that like rumors of a beneficent, right, like undead elf that goes around helping various orphanages and hospitals might have already like passed through ears. Now, it's not going to be something that everyone knows about, but for a person like Aurelia, who has come from a kind of poor, oppressed lifestyle, that is the type of rumor that might have made rounds in her circle, right?
And it might have also been very important to her as well. Like if
Possible.
she received a toy, or if she received, you know what I mean, like something.
Yeah, I would say that there's entire, she won't come out and ask, but there's entirely the possibility that in this exchange you see her like looking at you with that kind of like formulating suspicion of, is this the person that I have heard about? But she won't like push it or like come out and ask or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I would just fix her with like a knowing look and nod, and then continue with my whittling.
Okay. So this exchange kind of like ends in this kind of like lull of conversation with this, not promise, but this kind of like exchange of like, hey, I know some people that seem to be the kind of like people you would want to be involved with. Maybe I can give you some names, and no information is actually exchanged. It's just this kind of like feeling each other out kind of like moment. And then she parts ways, goes about her
Yeah,
business.
I'd also say like my meaning there would be to like I don't Bansii does not feel like any kind of true like anger or like strong passionate feelings about her,
Sure.
except that she seemed threatening
She seemed
and
dangerous and
she seemed
nonchalant. Yeah.
dangerous, right? And so Bansii wanted to make sure like she understood exactly where Bansii stands, but would kind of just let it go at that point. So she's hoping that the exchange helps that, so she doesn't feel as like.
I'm going to say roll me a power roll, and we're going to add your intuition, and we're going to add a +2 from your read person. Oh, that's a fucking 19. Hell yeah, critical success. Awesome. That's
Again?
yeah, that's a 23. You clock, right? Like in her interactions with you, there like she has a persona that she puts up with people. Whether that persona is false or not, you're not sure of. But in feeling you out, in having a conversation or two with you, she has pulled back on that outward persona quite a bit. And in doing so, you've seen a little bit more of the person underneath the facade that she wears. You do not feel like she harbors any sort of ill will or to your reception of her, right? Like, she doesn't give the impression to you that she's holding a grudge over the fact that you were suspicious about her, or like concerned or maybe like judging of the way she acted about things. If anything, the resulting interactions that she has had with you, she seems, what's the term that I would use there? She's giving off the vibe that she's impressed and intrigued with you.
Okay.
And that's it. Like, she leaves very like, okay, have fun, and goes about her business.
Cool.
Cobb,
Hello, it's me.
how exactly are you going about honing your master diving abilities?
I'm doing dives, man. I'm like,
Are you
I'm holding my breath.
are you doing more tethers up on the deck, just like hurling yourself into the water?
I'm getting real cold and I'm also getting real hot.
Yeah.
I'm doing all those things. I'm putting blindfolds on. I'm assembling pipes.
While you are going about your various business and training regimes, you notice that more often than not, Robert, who is the kind of like quieter, very like stoic Vaslorian crew member that you have, always does his work, never like questions or balks or anything like that. You notice he is very consistently nearby whenever you are doing something potentially dangerous. Especially when you are going overboard while being tethered.
He also appreciates danger. I like that.
That is not the impression that you're getting from him. You get the impression that he's like keeping an eye on you.
Well, he can do what he wants.
Okay.
That's the impression I get.
Do you engage him over it, or do you just let him go about his business?
I said, "Hello, Robert.
Bob?
Please."
All right, Bill.
That's right. Thank you. Call me by my given name.
I hate it. He's gonna be the only person who doesn't. Just so you know.
Well, I guess I'll be correcting a lot of people.
No, that's fine. I'll live with that.
Would you like to join me today in assembling the pipes?
Sorry, what?
We go in the water and we assemble the pipes.
Nope. I'm good. Busy up here.
Very well.
What?
I go in the water.
He hears a splash. He looks overboard, shakes his head, and keeps sweeping the deck.
And your bracelet activates, popping you back up.
The bracelets don't activate automatically. There's like a little ripcord on them. I say a ripcord, but it's basically like a bead on the edge of the bracelet that you have to pull off.
It snags on something as he jumps off.
Snags? I mean, it could snag. That could actually happen. Actually,
Robert, assist me.
He's like turtling on the water.
If that's what happens, you just get hit in the face by like 3 lines in rapid succession that are thrown at you.
Fantastic training.
Like it's pretty clear that he he is waiting in the wings because he's worried something's gonna go wrong because he thinks you're doing dangerous shit. And he's not wrong, but
Danger is how one advances in this world.
well, you know, sometimes it do be that way.
You can't be a
Alright.
statue on the mountain forever, Robert.
He doesn't know what that means, but it sounds wise.
It is wise.
Sounds wise. Okay, let's do some more rolls. It's day 3. Last day of downtime activity. More rolls, more rolls. The power. Okay.
Better.
Better. Cobb.
Better.
You got a +4, right?
Yes, sir.
So that is +16. Putting you at a 40. Very nice. Oh, Higgins. Sitting at a 49. Uvik.
49?
I rolled a 14 plus a 3 is 17.
Ta-ta. You have caught up to Cobb. 40 and 40. Very nice. And Bansii, I need a roll from you. Plus your presence, so 14. Bansii sitting at 58. So, as a note, Cobb, Uvik, and Higgins all have goals that they are trying to meet. So their projects will not come to fruition until they meet those goals. But Bansii, the way your whittling is operating, you have hit the first basic turn-in threshold. So once you do make it to a port of call, so Pouso in this case, you will have the opportunity, should you wish, to cash in the 50 points that you have already accrued to get the first basic thing, or you can keep storing them up to try to go for something bigger later on down the road. But we'll discuss that further. I'll do some more work on exactly what you can and cannot get, and we'll like hash out details so that you know kind of like what you're aiming towards, and we'll go from there. But you are sitting at 58 points currently. Last day of travel. On the last day of travel, I'm gonna roll dice. It's 7. Uvik.
Me, Vic.
Him, Vic.
Once the Scorpion is outside of the inner sea, basically as it's starting to come in between islands, there's a lot more to do on board the vessel. Still time for your downtime activities, etc., etc. But there's a lot more activity. People are more alert, more kind of like involved in what is going on. And you're a little busier. You also note that there is a person that is a little more present during this particular portion of time that you haven't really seen the last few days, because she's been staying in the room that was kind of like given to her by Ambrosio. Actually, he gave up his room and has been bunking
Blackbird
in,
or
and it's Blackbird, right? So Blackbird has a splint on her leg to kind of like help her out, and she's kind of like on one of those like singular, the bowed crutch type thing, kind of like the nothing modern in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Just a really long stick with a place to put your arm.
Your armpit.
Your armpit, yeah. And you see her a little more active, but trying to kind of stay out of everyone's way. And you, as a person who has been on vessels for many years, recognize a person who's kind of going a little stir crazy,
Mhm.
and is clearly a little frustrated at not having something to do, not having some activity to be useful with or to assist everyone with. And you see a little bit of a how what's the phrase I would use here? A little bit of a differing in aged well, I'm gonna say this, aged attitudes. And then before I commit any further, I'm gonna ask Lily. Hey Lily, how old-ish is Bansii? We're slowly but surely character building with everyone here. Well, let's you don't have to give me an actual age, but would you classify her as a young elf, a middle-aged elf, or an old elf?
I would say she's a middle-aged elf
Okay.
that's been undead for 50 years.
Okay. So middle-aged means that she's at least kind of like
200?
maybe like at least 100, maybe in the
300?
150, 200 kind of like ballpark type
605.
scenario. Now, obviously, that's loosey-goosey, but regardless of what the exact age of Bansii is, Bansii gives off the appearance or the vibe of a mature elf, right? Like, not a young elf.
And I
Black-
take it back because I want like the undead part to have happened with the incident, right?
Sure,
And so
yeah.
that's recent enough that she's still looking. So maybe
Okay.
5 years ago.
Okay,
Undead?
sure. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Blackbird gives off a very different vibe than Bansii. Blackbird does not look as relaxed. Blackbird does not look as accepting. Blackbird is a young elf. She's not a young person necessarily, but compared to an elf, she's probably considered by others of her kind to be in a minority, right? Like she is,
baby.
yeah. So you kind of like see this, Yuvik. You see this person who is a little stir crazy, who has that kind of like vibe of like a younger crew member, doesn't really know what to do, is injured, so feels like she's in the way, but still wants to be useful. This is kind of like the vibe that you're kind of clocking at this particular.
Mm-hmm.
But also very clearly unwilling to approach anyone about anything, so not going to do anything unless someone approaches her.
I'll see her. I'll kind of point out that leg. Now I'll ask her, "How's that doing? You can put weight on it."
A little bit, yes. Enough to get around and not have it be a huge pain, but not enough to. And she kind of gestures across the deck, and you see Robert is over there working, right? Like doing like actual stuff that he would need to be doing on a vessel that is going through choppy waters.
Yep. How long have you been below deck?
The last 2 days.
You need some sunlight. Come on. And I'll lead her up
Okay.
top of the deck.
Sure, yeah.
He evaporates in the
And,
sun instantly.
Immediately, just
She's a
incinerates.
vampire.
Absolutely, just gone.
I'll look around, and I'll like see some fishing nets that I'm sure that there's going to be some that need to be darned because from
Sure.
use.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll sit down, and
Where did you
I'll
use
like
darned?
darn. Yeah, you darn
Mhm,
a hole.
Yeah, sure.
Burn that hole.
What? That joke has never been made before.
I'm sure. Always fresh here.
But yeah, but yeah, and then I'll like sit down, grab some yarn, and I'll gesture her over, be like, you know,
Sure.
something that can keep her off her leg, but keep her hands busy, and maybe get some vitamin D.
She gets you. She'll take a seat. And she gives you. She's young for an elf. She's not young for a person. She gives you a knowing smile. Like she realizes you're giving her something to do.
I ain't trying to hide it.
And she's just like she strikes you as a quiet, reserved individual. But she is not she doesn't hide her reactions to anything. So like you see that she is pleased and grateful that you're giving her something to do. Like that you got her out from below deck and that you're giving her the opportunity to do something on the ship that will make her feel like she hasn't just been wasteful for 3 days.
And I'll sit there and I'll start fixing holes and.
She seems she's also a far mariner, right? Like this isn't just some rando elf that you picked up, right? Like she's a part of the same organization that you all are. She's proficient. You set her down, set her to task, and she starts doing exactly what you need her to be doing. With relative skill.
Those when we met you, those some pretty dire straits, don't you think?
It was rough. It was the most dire straits that I have been in.
It's just seems so close to be like, had we not showed up, there would be no one left. Just what you did, that was incredibly brave.
Was it?
It was?
It felt like it was just what I had to do.
That's a little bit of that duty and honor, right?
A little bit, maybe, but I think it was more along the lines of the voice screaming in the back of my head that if I let that door go, they would kill everyone else behind me and then kill me. I don't know that there was a lot of duty or honor in my mind at that point.
Well, it doesn't have to be. Just glad you made it through. Glad that the people that we were able to get. Honestly, I did not expect. I thought we were just doing a supply run.
Yeah, she just
comment
shrugs.
on that was
You
how do you feel about the I'm wrong. I gotta look at my notes. Where's my notes?
the Tlatsiski?
Yeah, the Pletsiski. Like, so what's your take on the Pletsiski? How do you feel? Because
She gives you that kind of like non-committal shrug. She pauses for a moment afterwards and she says, I've heard there was a lot of talking that happened after when we were coming downriver. And well, Kono reported before I did to Ragash, so
right.
when I went in there, Ragash asked me a few questions as well. I mean, things had always been fine. And so obviously something feels off. Something feels like it wasn't right. And with what I've heard aboard the ship and with the conversation of Ragash, it feels like there was something else going on. I don't know the specifics. I don't want to see what Kono wants to transpire.
Oh, I know what she wants. She wants blood.
Yes.
She wants vengeance.
It doesn't. Even if there weren't, even if there aren't extenuating circumstances to the situation, I don't see the point in mustering an expedition to march into Tlatsiski territory and kill as many of them as we can and lose as few as we can. It'll be a bloodbath on both sides regardless. And for what?
For nothing. They don't want to fight.
Even if they did, what would it matter? We're gonna... Okay, so we gain several miles of swampland?
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I understand the wealth that has come out of Little Ix. I'm not ignorant to the value that is being obtained here. But the Tlatsiski are they are not a minor tribe. And fighting them, we've already had one, and she kind of like air quotes, war against some of the Tetzalcoatl. Having another makes me feel like we're just a half step from the entire archipelago just rising up. And it's one thing to say, okay, well, maybe if there weren't extenuating circumstances and the Tlatsiski are out for blood, maybe it's worth taking the fight to them. But is it worth doing that at the risk of all of the islands rising up to kill anyone that is not native? There are thousands of people in Little Ix now. People not native to the area. And we're risking that because I don't want to sound like I don't care or that I lack compassion for the lives that have been lost. But we're going to risk that for the... She would know the exact number. I don't know the exact number.
The exact number here.
Yeah, the insert exact number of lives lost on the attack at Grinnell here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As the way I see it, if we were to pursue this violently, we would be doing those lives a disservice, the ones that were lost.
I agree. I will be honest. Two gestures at you. I believed you and your crewmates to be of a like mind, but I was not certain.
For the most part.
The reason why I asked to come here was so that I could put my voice to this situation. Because I wasn't certain that your voices would be the voices of reason. I assumed and hoped, but I didn't know.
I mean, that's kind of while we're talking, I was kind of curious where you stood on all this, especially since you were. I believe you have a unique insight as you were in some of the most danger from that situation, and
I can tell you where I don't stand, and right now that's pretty much anywhere.
Give it some time.
I don't stand with Kouno's opinion. We're going to need to address things with Consul Hirado swiftly. Because, like it or not, Kouno does have connections. And while she didn't make this trip, her information and desires will. And I would imagine they won't be far behind us. Oh no, I wanted the bite.
Here comes the airplane.
The airplane. Very nice.
I've got Blackbird. I don't think the Plutziski are the threat, but I do have a sneaking suspicion that there is a threat. It just doesn't lie with them.
This is information that the party has, right? After the conversation that you had with Xia, the lizard folk, kind of like matron, right? This is something that you have not shared with anyone else other than kind of Ragash. But only
it's
just
in
like
the
surface
report.
level with Ragash. Yeah. So Blackbird kind of like gives you this kind of like arched eyebrow of not knowing what the fuck you're talking about.
We were able to speak with one of the Plutziski tribe members who, through labored communications, indicated that they were being, for brevity's sake, mind controlled, basically.
She kind of like she stiffens in response to that, right? Like that. You see this kind of like look of horror cross her face. Mind control. Mind control is a thing that exists in this world. It is not a common thing. Whereas like D&D, you have like charm spells and friendship spells and suggestion and shit like that. That is extremely pervasive in that world. That is not a thing that is nearly as common in this world. Mind control is one of those like it would be, it's kind of funny, right? Like think how D&D presents necromancers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how people react to necromancers in D&D.
Yeah,
I feel like that's how people react to mind control in Orden. Right? Whereas, interestingly, they don't react nearly as poorly to necromancers in Orden. Like, they got an entire quarter of undead in Capital.
But I believe that the Plutziski were victim just as much as we were in this endeavor. And I don't know where, how,
who,
but who?
She nods at you and she kind of goes quiet. I want you to make a... Ooh, you don't have it. I want you to just make a power roll, and you're gonna add 1 for your... Ooh, actually, you're gonna -1 for your
Minus
intuition.
1. Is it? Oh, yep. All right, here we go. Ciao.
Good job.
10.
There is a reaction in her that you see, but you cannot read well enough to give you a read on what she's thinking.
Okay.
But she does. She takes your information and she kind of goes quiet. And she continues working. And she continues chatting with you as long as you want to chat with her. But she does seem more reserved and more introspective in the time that passes after.
Okay.
Okay. As the vessel, as the unfortunate scorpion rounds the promontory, the easternmost promontory, into the Bay of Mapaches.
I'm tired, boy.
That is when Yoham kind of like gives out the shout that the port is in sight, and you all come into the northern bay that hosts the city of Poso. Immediately coming in, there are a myriad of vessels in this bay. There's a redoubt on the northwestern promontory. So there's two promontories that kind of like enclose this natural harbor, this bay that exists here. So there's this redoubt that is on the northwestern one, basically military naval fortification, right? It's mostly earthenware, kind of like quickly thrown up once the settlement was established. Remembering that this city, right, has only been here for 2 years. Little Ix has only been here for 2 years. This Poso is the first main landing spot of the exploration expeditions that came into Little Ix. In fact, Poso meaning first landing, right? And you can see a city that is kind of sprawling, but very clearly under varying layers of construction. Towards the northern portion, towards that redoubt, is the main fortified naval base. That is also where the inner city is. There are 2 walls around Poso. There's this kind of like currently in construction, partially wooden wall, partially earthwork, stonework wall. As this settlement has become more permanent, they are going back over prior constructions that were kind of just haphazardly thrown up, and they're reworking it with solid stone. The majority of the naval fortifications here have already gone through that, and it's actually like a big stone fort. But a lot of the inner city is still kind of like very haphazard, not very well designed, just kind of like thrown up as need. And the outer city, which is the second ring, around which there's just this kind of like 10-foot tall wooden palisade, right? Is just a giant like hive, just this big slum of buildings all crammed together and everything and anyone all shoved into whatever space that they could possibly get into. The roads make absolutely no sense. There was no planning going into anything. It was literally just, oh, these people have arrived, they need a place gets built, cool, rinse, repeat down the line. There is, very specifically, there is the civilian kind of like dockyards, and then there's the naval yard being closed off and ringed in military vessels to prevent any entry. And then there's just a bunch of boats all throughout the bay. As soon as your vessel enters into the bay, it is approached by 2 other brigantines that are military vessels, that are Navy vessels. They show their colors, you show yours. It's a very quick exchange with you coming in, and you're able to pretty quickly gain passage into the naval yard where you'll actually dock your vessel. There are two things of note as you enter into the naval yard. And that is very specifically that the HRP Lance is still docked here. The HRP, His Royal Prince's Lance, is a massive galleon. Basically like the cream of the crop as far as naval vessels are concerned in this day and age. It's like a quad decker. It's massive. It's got like 100 cannons on it. This thing Jesus. Versus your boat is like, I don't know, a tank versus a bicycle type scenario, right? Like, this is a royal ship. The naming conventions within the Navy, as we've discussed previously, is basically the vast majority of vessels are named after weapons. In the concept that at least all of the major vessels, anything like above a schooner or something like that, are like referred to as HRP, whatever the weapon is, in the concept that this is a weapon of His Royal Princes, right? The Navy being the military arm of Capital. Thing is, there hasn't been a prince for 3 years, right?
Right.
Prince has been dead for 3 years. All of you are familiar enough, right? We haven't, like, I don't know that we've recently discussed exactly how. So we know, like, Cobb has been in the Navy for many years, for like 7 years or so, right? So Cobb is kind of like an old hat veteran within the Navy. All three of you are more new to the Navy itself, though Yuvik has been a pirate or a sailor, for a privateer for quite some time,
Privateer.
right? Whatever terminology we've got to use. But all of you have been in and around this area long enough, at least in Pouso, enough times to recognize the HRP Lance, which is the flagship vessel of the Consul Haruto, who is basically the administrative rank of this city. Princeps Ragash, for example, was the highest administrative rank in Parata. And something that your characters would know, right, is that the administrative ranks within the Navy and within a lot of organizations in Capital or in Rioja as a whole reflect the old Kalian Empire's administrative or title ranks, right? So things like Princeps and Consul, etc., right? That's the administrative side of things. The military war machine side of things uses differing ranks, like captain, right? And notably, you see a second galleon here in the naval yard that I think most of you do not recognize. I think Cobb probably has seen it before, or knows enough to know what it is when he sees it, and maybe Bansii, through word of mouth and being an actual resident of Capital, knows enough to know what's going on after seeing it. But you see a second vessel, a second galleon here, and it is the HED Volge, not the HRP. It is not
The high explosive dragon.
It is not his royal prince's weapon. It is his eminent duke's weapon.
The Duke.
This is something that has developed extremely recently. As there is no prince, the Duke Marco Verona has begun commissioning vessels in his own name, which is not something that would ever be done under the purview of the prince.
That sounds
It's
like
just
heresy.
another example of
Sounds like he's making a statement.
It's another example of the growing show of power between the 7 factions that are basically ruling the capital, and Duke Marco Verona, head of the Navy, is one of those 7 figures that has been showing that he should be the next prince, right? So seeing the HED Volge, I think the only person here that might know who that vessel belongs to would be Cobb. Cobb, you know that that vessel belongs to Vice Admiral Valderas. Vice Admiral is not an administrative title. That is a military war title. The Vice Admiral Valderas is the son-in-law of Duke Marco Verona.
Turn into One Piece.
And having a console, right? It's One Piece time, baby. And having
Hell yeah.
having a
I'm here for
consul and a vice admiral in the same location is basically like having 2 heads of state that, in theory, should be making the ultimate decisions in their area, but they both have that power. So, this is what you witness as you return to Pouso. And I think there's no like hubbub. You're able to dock without any issue. There's the normal fanfare, people coming and going at the naval yards. Immediately as soon as you weigh anchor and tie off, there's an administrator, dock personnel there that's taking down your information, etc., blah blah blah, all that jazz. The only thing, I think this is the note that we will end on after kind of like the information spill there, is that and this kind of depends. All of you have been to Pouso before. This is where all individuals come through when they first arrive in Little Ix, at least naval individuals. And so you may or may not have experienced this before. I'm gonna ask each of you to roll a power roll, and you don't want to be low on the totem pole.
It's kind of low.
Pa. Not that
Yeah,
low.
not low.
Yeah.
All right, I need one from you, Lily.
You have to critically fail to. Yeah, you're good.
Yaka.
Give it to
Thank
me.
you for
As you
following the
all
forward, Captain.
are coming off the dock, or as you're all kind of like docking and you're going through like the normal scenario, there is a vessel on the other side of the dock that you're at. Everything here is loud, but it's not louder than any normal kind of like docking situation would be. But it's suddenly there is a lot of shouting and commotion on this other vessel that's across from you. And you see coming up out of the hold a swarm of furry creatures. Black-rimmed eyes, grayish fur, kind of like elongated snouts with little canines
Coons.
and long ringed tails, as a flood of raccoons comes out of one vessel onto the dock. Most of them go up the dock. The naval personnel that is sitting there taking your information dives over the edge of the dock to get out of this swarm's way. There's 30 or 40 raccoons just going wild across this dock. And one, a rotund, almost corpulent figure that is more rolling than it is running, comes magically up the gangplank and flies into Yuvik's face as it is trying to escape from this other ship. And as it hits Yuvik, it belches in your face, and it suddenly, rotund form shrinks drastically as you inhale what it spits out, which is basically a big belly of gunpowder. And then you hear this. And that is where we are going to end tonight's session.
What the fuck is happening?
Raccoon problem in Poso, by the way. It's something that most of you would actually know, but as characters, this is your first, or players, this is your first interaction with it. So, welcome to Poso. I hope you enjoy. By the way, Mapaches is literally the Bay of Raccoons.
Okay.
All right, very
So,
good.
I hope you enjoyed.
Podcast.
We made some downtime progress. So we got our feet wet with downtime activities. So we'll see how those progress. Downtime's just going to be one of those things that comes and goes. Sometimes you won't have downtime for quite a while, and then other times it'll be like, oh, well, we've got 2 weeks of downtime. Let's make the most of it, right? So we will see how that all pans out, and we'll see what the gunpowder and hissing noise is the next time we play. Thanks. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.